Hey, Thomas from Field Tennis. This backhand volley technique video is part of my complete volley and smash course that shows you how to develop correct volley technique with step-by-step progressions, how to move quickly and smoothly when you're approaching the net, what's the right mindset that makes you an aggressive volleyer, and tons of drills to get your volleys to the next level. So if you want to know more about the full course, just check the link in the description. So what's the right grip for the backhand volley? It's the continental grip. So here's a quick recap if you haven't watched my forehand volley video when I was talking about the grip. So continental grip, and what you want to keep in mind is you want to keep your fingers spread. So your fingers will be spread when the racket is more diagonal in the hand. If it's too perpendicular in the hand, then you close the fingers, then they're more like this, perpendicular. So this is still a continental grip, but not a very stable one, not a good one. So it's important to spread the fingers, so index finger gives good guidance and support on the forehand volley, and also here it helps. And here your support is more gonna be the thumb here under the backhand volley. So that's it. This is kind of non-negotiable. It's always continental grip, and it's very comfortable to hit volleys, backhand volleys like that. So again, quick recap if you haven't watched the forehand volley video. Every stroke starts with a split step, but on the volley we want to keep the forward momentum. So in comparison to the baseline where we more have a neutral split step, when I volley I want to have a forward momentum, so I go a bit back, I split step and continue the movement. So I have a split step and continue forward into the volley. So after the split step, you see that the ball is coming to your backhand volley. You first need to react to that ball, so you always start with your upper body. Your hands are still both on the racket, so don't release with the non-dominant hand. You just prepare the racket with both hands. You turn towards the ball. So what's important here is that you always react with the upper body first. Don't start with the foot first. Start with the upper body first, and then continue with your body mass towards the ball, and then let your feet follow. So you go with your body weight and let your feet follow. Don't start with your foot first. So you go here, you volley, and just let the foot come on the ground when it needs to. By the way, if you struggle with your volleys, you may be stuck at the same level, not because there's something you don't know yet, but because what you've been taught is already outdated or simply wrong. I have a free course that busts 4 of the most common volley myths that keep players stuck at the same level. And these myths are sticking your arms in front in the ready position, having no backswing, having no real follow through, and the idea that one must always step into the ball. So if you're ready to get unstuck at the net, then sign up for the free volley course through the link in the description, and I'll see you on the other side with all the answers. The second tip I can share about the backhand volley preparation is that you're using your non-dominant hand to pull the racket back a little bit. So you're doing, the first move is kind of pulling and preparing back, and the second one is that you're pushing a little bit inwards into a bit of radial deviation. So that's the movement towards the thumb of the wrist, so this way. So I want to pull a bit inward to create a bit of tension in the wrist, because that gives me like a little spring from which I can create a bit of a trampoline effect when I pop the ball, and I can get a bit of slice out of this. So obviously the wrist doesn't come out like this, but it comes out a little bit from this completely bent position, and so I will have a good, like a little spring in the wrist to hit the ball well. If my wrist is cocked like this, then it will shoot out, compared to just preparing the volley like this and having a wrist that is too loose. Then you will not feel any good power on your backhand volley. So what are the key checkpoints in the preparation? So after the reaction, you're going to reach the preparation position. So the first one, maybe from this angle, is that just like on the forehand volley, One checkpoint is that the racket head is roughly at the height of your head. So on the forehand volley it's like this, on the backhand volley it's like this. So that's one simple guideline. So not like this and not like this. The second guideline is that the racket is angled roughly 45 degrees. So you can remember a couple of 45-degree guidelines. This is one of them. So racket is not like this, but it's like this. The other 45-degree guideline is your body orientation towards the ball. So your head and body orientation, 45-degree guideline. And the next checkpoint to keep in mind is the elbow position that needs to be in front. Now this is very comfortable on the backhand volley. It comes very natural. So sometimes players swing too much and they will go in a position like this. So then the elbow is kind of starting to come behind the body if you're looking from the side. So it's going to start to get behind this line. So that is going to be a big problem. So you want to keep the elbow in front of the body line, looking from the side. But again, usually that's not a big problem on the backhand volley. So I want to show you the hitting phase from the back view. I will ask my assistant Kaya to give me just a nice ball. So I'm hitting the ball down the line. So when you're developing the backhand volley technique, you're also learning how to control the ball. So this hitting phase is important. So what matters is that I always aim to hit the ball slightly upwards. So that's one, and the second one is with backspin, right? So I want to hit the ball with a bit of backspin, with a bit of slice. And I'm looking after the ball and seeing if it has a horizontal axis of rotation. So if I do the volley wrong and I pull too much across like this, then the spin axis will be a bit tilted. So you have to watch for that, and that's going to be a good feedback for you, that you know that you did something wrong when you hit the ball. So in the hitting phase, you're kind of observing the ball. You want to see if you can keep the volley straight into the target if you're going down the line. Yes, all balls are going up. Even if you have a bit higher contact point, I'm still hitting a bit up. And backspin, those are the key points for the hitting phase. So the key points for the finish from this point of view is that I want to extend the non-dominant arm opposite from the hitting arm. So that's checkpoint one. The second one is that the hitting arm will extend fully and it moves in the direction of the target. So you don't want to swing too much across. You want to move more or less towards the target. And you want to keep the racket face pointing towards the target when you finish. So in conclusion, let's summarize the backhand volley technique in the three most important checkpoints. So the first one is that when you're preparing, use your non-dominant hand to lift the racket, pull it back, and also create a bit of tension in the wrist. So you're pushing back a little bit. That creates a very stable wrist. So the second point is about the wrist, is that it should be bent here. So not like this, but with a bit of extension. So wrist in extension, very stable wrist. And the third one is that when you finish, you want to keep the racket face pointing towards the target. And the bonus tip is don't rotate your body.